Hey folks, so today I'm going to show you a little bit of tips and tricks and a how-to on making a Bitmoji virtual classroom. So what I started with was just generic backgrounds and different little floorboards that I could find that I put together. I used two for this one. And then you want to start putting in your fun decorations. One of the key websites that helped me make my Bitmoji classroom is Remove Background. So it's remove.bg. This website helps because you can find product images from around the web and remove that background from it if it has a white background, and it'll make everything look all neat and tidy. So all I do is go here and I type in a whiteboard because I always start with my whiteboard. I'm going to go to images and I'm going to pick a whiteboard that I like. So I'm just going to pick this. I'm going to save it as the whiteboard. I know I spelled that wrong. Don't worry about it. That way I didn't have to replace another one. So I'm going to drop the image in here and it's going to pull out the background. The thing to be careful with this site is it sometimes doesn't really work with items that are patterned with white in it because sometimes it assumes that the white is a part of the background. And what's cool about this site is you can edit and erase parts of the background if it messes up or restore pieces of the image. So I'm going to download the removed background PNG. I'm going to come back to my Bitmoji classroom and I am going to drag it in there. Now, when you download from this website, it keeps the full image size that it was before. So what I like to do is I like to crop it down as close to the actual image as possible because you're going to have a lot of links in your website and you want to make sure that nothing overlaps something else because then the links won't work. And you can make it whatever size you want. And I'm just going to make it kind of centered right over here. Next up, you want to actually put your Bitmoji in. So one fun thing to be able to do, especially with being a teacher in distance learning, is you want to be able to put your Bitmoji in PowerPoints, sometimes even in silly emails or wherever you want to put your Bitmoji. So there's actually an extension for Chrome for Bitmoji, and it brings it up right here, and you just type in what you want. The biggest tip that I found that worked for me was the fact that if you type in pose to Bitmoji, it will give you just a bunch of poses that you can use that don't have words, that don't have anything on it. If you do find one with words that you absolutely want to use, then that's okay. You can just use that remove background website to do it. Bitmoji works by copying the image and then pasting it, but you can also click and drag it into your classroom and position it to wherever you want. Again, I would crop it down to as close to your Bitmoji as possible. At least for our website, which you'll see later, we've got a lot of people in ours and all of ours linked to our personal websites. So you're going to want to have as little overlap as possible for items that are going to be linked. So next up, you're going to use a lot of Google. You're going to be going back and forth between using Google image search, remove background, and putting some decorations into your classroom. So in my classroom, I have a table. I have a laptop on my table. And I even found an image of my actual Starbucks order to put on my table too. One thing that I thought was fun was that most of our team has pets. Mine are at my parents' house, but we all have pets, so we all put cartoon versions of our pets in our classroom as well. It adds that personal touch to the classroom, and it also kind of it makes it fun and it makes it enjoyable to look at. So next up, you want a place where you have your links. There's kind of two ways to do links. You can have them scattered around the room where students and parents kind of have to discover what links to what, or you can have it all in one place. So I have it all in one bookshelf. The bookshelf lives in the side of the room and it will have all of the icons that link to the other slides that I have in my Bitmoji classroom. So I've added a new slide with just a generic background that is going to be the contact slide. So this will include different ways to contact you, and let's get started. So What I'm going to start with is just taking the same whiteboard that I had in my original slide and putting it on the contact slide. You can make it as big or as small as you want, depending on how many ways you're going to have your students or parents contact you. And then next up, you are going to add your Bitmoji in. So again, I'm going to say pose. You can also type in phone or call. Let's see what pops up if we say call. Some fun, silly things. I like having the full body on here, so we're going to put that in there. Now again, I don't want to overlap, so I'm going to make it a little smaller. And then you can put the different ways to contact you. So the way I like to do it is I like to put a little thing in the corner, a little text box that says my name. And what I usually like to do is I like to make a nice cute border and fill it in with a nice color. And I'd make it a cute text font and everything like that. And then you want the different ways to contact you. So there's a website called Flat Icon, and it is a really good website to find icons for the different parts of your web. I wanted to have a phone icon for to put a phone number on my website. I would search for phone. I'd look through and I'd find a phone that I like, and I would download it. So I'm going to take my flat icon phone and I'm going to put it in here. Then I would go and search for an email one. So you can have whatever ways you want your students and parents to contact you. Your phone number isn't going to really link to anything, but your email can. So I'm going to create a text box and I'm going to say person@school.edu, and I'm going to make the font bigger. I'd make it the cute font that I do with everything. And then you want to actually make this a clickable link to open up an email to this same email. So I'm going to say Command K on the text box, not on the text. If you're like this, you want to click on the text box and you're going to say Command K and you're just going to type in the email and you're going to press apply. So now when you present this, this is going to be a link that they can click on and it will open the email client they use and set up to send an email. So next up, you want to link your homepage to go to this page when you click on a certain icon. On my classroom, I have just a little red rotary phone in my bookshelf. So when you click on this, you're going to say Command K, and it's going to be slide 2. So now, if I present, I click on this and it will go to this slide. But now I'm stuck on this slide. So your next step is you want to create a home button, and your home button is going to go on every single slide except for your home page. I'm going to use flat icon again to go and find a home icon that I like and that I want to put on my slides, and then I will put it on. So I have now put the home button of my choice down in the bottom corner, but the problem I'm going to run into, and the problem you kind of run into with putting things at the bottom of Google Slides, is you can't really see anything down when you try to link it. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. So when you want to link your home page back to your home button back to your home page, you're going to press Command K, and then you're going to notice that you can barely see anything down here. So what I always do is I just type something into here because it adds this little thing at the bottom where it searches for that word, and then you can scroll down and find that you want to link it to the first slide. Now, if I present, I can click the home page, and then I've got all this stuff on here, and if I click the little home button, it takes me back to here. Now, you don't want this to advance to the next slide. You want this to function as a website where only the links work. You don't want it to function as a slides presentation. If you do, ignore this next part. If you don't, pay attention. So you want this homepage to not go to any other slide. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna skip this slide. That will make it, and you wanna skip every other slide that you put in here except the homepage. That's gonna make it so that when you click on anywhere on the homepage, it doesn't go anywhere. If you notice, I'm clicking, but it's not going anywhere unless I click the phone. Now you also wanna do that with the other slides. The way you do that with the other slides is you want to make a rectangle over the entire slide. So you're gonna use the shapes, make a rectangle. I just wanna make sure I didn't just use a text box because Lord knows I probably would have. So you wanna make a rectangle going over the entire slide. And it's gonna end up being filled in. So you're gonna say transparent, and you're gonna also make the border transparent. Next up, you're gonna take it and move it to the side. And then you're gonna use Shift, you're gonna hold down Shift and click on anything that has a link to it. So these are the only two things in this slide that link to anything else. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna say Order, Bring to Front. So that's gonna put them in front of this rectangle so that these are still clickable links. But then I wanna make this rectangle link to the slide it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure the rectangle is selected. I'm gonna Command K. I'm gonna do that whole trick of typing in something so I can actually scroll down. And I'm gonna link it to, this is slide 2, so I'm gonna link it to slide 2. What that does is when I present, skipping the slide means that when you click on the homepage, it doesn't go anywhere. Making a transparent rectangle on it means that when I click anywhere on here, it won't advance to the next slide, but my links will still work. That's why we take those links and bring them to the front. So this still works if you look down in the corner, the link pops up at the bottom. It'll tell you exactly where it's gonna go. And this is just looping them. Anytime they click here, it just loops it to this same slide. That's the trick to making this actually function as a website. Then your home button is still gonna take you back to the home page. So I'm gonna show you how to do this with a slide that has a lot more links on it. So this is my book room. So when I go to, on the homepage of mine, I found this little cartoon books and I put it in the bookshelf. And then I'm gonna say, again, Command K, link it to slide 3 because that is the book room. And then it's gonna link to this slide. Again, I skipped this slide in the presentation so that the homepage doesn't go anywhere. And this slide has a lot on it. So what I did was I found PDFs of all the Harry Potter books. I found PDFs of a series of unfortunate events. And these all link to a website that I found that has, and teachers use this if you want it, it has a lot of books and novels and novellas that have the, let's just go to the Secret Garden. It has the audiobook going across the top, and then you can scroll through to read the book. And this is a great resource for having to teach novels at home. I highly recommend it. And this slide has a lot of links. I have the Libby app down here. I've got the homepage and I've got all these books. So I'm gonna just walk through making the rectangle with a lot of links. And this is where holding down the Shift button is going to be your best friend. So I've created the rectangle. I'm going to move it away from any links that I have. And I'm going to make sure the rectangle isn't selected. And then I'm going to go through and make sure I click on every single book that has a link somewhere. because if you miss any, they're going to be hidden behind the rectangle and they're not going to be clickable links anymore. And you can see that they get this little blue haze around them to let you know that you have clicked on them. And I'm going to also click the home page. So everything is clicked. Right click, bring to front, and now I can take this rectangle and put it back. Another tip about Google Slides is if you just need to move something just a teeny tiny little bit, hold down the shift button and then use the arrow keys. Because if I just use the arrow keys, it moves it a lot. And then if I use the shift, it moves it just a little. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm on the home page. If I click the contacts, it'll go here and I'll go back. And then if I click the book room, all of these, if you look in the bottom corner, will link to what they're supposed to link to, and the homepage will link back to the homepage. Although I don't think I actually did that. Oh, I did. So that you can add whatever you want to your Bitmoji classroom. That remove background website is going to be your best friend. Be very helpful for little speech boxes. And you can say, click in the bookshelf to find resources. So I'm going to show you my Bitmoji classroom real quick, just so you can kind of get an idea of what a finalized one looks like as it loads. So if you look at mine, I've got all these slides skipped. And then I'm not going to present my contact page only because that's my personal info. But we have a take a break room. So we've got some mindfulness strategies, some meditation strategies, and all of that. Then we have our online meeting expectations board. We've got the book room. We've got all of the websites that we are going to be using this year, and each of these is, again, a link to the login page for those websites. We have our science teachers page that has the links to his Zoom meetings in case the kids need them. We have a schedule. So this is our schedule for the kids. And then we also have a PE page. Last but not least, here's the ultimate question. How do I share this with parents and students without having all of this stuff here? You don't want the presentation bar, you want it to look like a website. And I'm going to go over how you do just that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your sharing options are so that anyone can see it, because you do want parents to be able to access this. You do want students to be able to access this, or depending on whoever you want to access this. So you're going to make sure that your permissions are updated so that anyone with the link can open it and see it. Then you are going to copy the link to it. I'm just going to open this in a little sticky note. Let's go. There we go. And I'm going to paste it right here. I'm going to make it a little bigger so you all can see. And you're going to take off this little section that starts with edit. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to type preview, preview, question mark, RM, equal sign, minimal. So if I copy that and I go into a new tab and I paste that, now it's here, it exists. You don't have a presentation bar on it, yet all the links still work. Now, if you don't want to have to send out this whole big URL, I highly recommend making it a tiny URL. So I'm going to go to tiny URL. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to make it a tiny URL. And now we have it here. So if I go in and I paste that tiny URL, it'll take me to your website. Tiny URL doesn't really change anything. It just makes it look a little nicer and it looks a little less intense. And there you have it. There is your Bitmoji classroom. Type in the comments if you have any questions.